My children weren't invited to Christmas because there wasn't room, but my brother's kids were all over the house. I quietly packed our gifts and left. The next morning, I unwrapped something online and tagged every single relative. I found out my kids weren't invited to Christmas through a text that didn't even mention their names. Just a quick message from my mom 2 weeks before the 25th. Hey, sweetie, we're doing something smaller this year. Just immediate family. Hope that's okay. I stared at it for a long time, not sure what she meant by immediate family, considering I am her daughter. I texted back asking who would be there. After a few hours, she finally replied, just Ryan and Melanie and the kids. It's easier that way. You know how crowded it gets. Ryan is my brother, older by 2 years, golden boy since birth. 3 kids, noisy as hell, but somehow they never cause chaos. Just energy. A little quieter, a little more sensitive, and somehow always the ones being too much. We've all done Christmas at my parents' house every year since before Layla, my oldest, was born. 11 years of piling into their over-decorated living room, watching my dad fall asleep during Elf, eating my mom's overcooked ham, and pretending it was great. But this year, my kids, Layla and Mike, weren't included because there wasn't room. I didn't respond. I didn't fight. Not then. I just sat with it. Nate, my husband, told me maybe they were just overwhelmed. Maybe it wasn't personal. But Nate's never been on the receiving end of my family's pecking order. He gets invited to everything. He gets the polite smiles. I get the side eyes when Mike doesn't want to hug someone or when Layla says no to pie. I didn't tell the kids. I told them we were having a quiet Christmas this year, just the 4 of us. They were disappointed, but they didn't question it. They've learned not to. Still, I packed the car on Christmas Eve. Every gift I had wrapped for my parents, for Ryan, for his kids. I told Nate I wanted to drop them off. Just be decent. He didn't argue. We drove over around 3:00 p.m. Their street was already packed with cars. I had to park halfway down the block. That was my first clue. The second was the front door being wide open even though it was freezing. I didn't even get to the porch before I saw inside. Every light was on, fireplace crackling, laughter echoing from the living room, and Ryan's kids were everywhere. Wrapping paper in the air, toys scattered, music blasting. My mom was taking pictures, my dad was pouring wine. No room, huh? I turned around, walked back to the car, and opened the trunk. Nate didn't say a word. I packed the gifts back in. All of them. We drove home in silence. I didn't cry. I wasn't even angry. I was past that. The next morning, I decided if they didn't have room for us at Christmas, I'd make some room online, and I tagged every single one of them. The morning after Christmas, while the rest of the world was posting family photos and matching pajamas, I was uploading something different. Something I'd been drafting in my head since we got back home the night before. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't emotional. I didn't even mention names. I just wrote, funny how some kids get to be the center of Christmas while others get quietly uninvited because there's not enough room. Hope everyone enjoyed the space. We sure did. Just us and the truth this year. Then I attached a photo. The pile of untouched gifts I had reloaded into the trunk, all labeled, all wrapped, sitting under our tree, unopened. And I tagged every adult in my family. It didn't take long. Ryan was first. Texted me within 15 minutes. What is this about? I didn't answer. Then Melanie messaged me a string of passive-aggressive lines. I don't know what you're implying, but this feels really unfair to your parents. Maybe talk to them instead of making this public. I let that one sit too. But it was my mom who called 3 times in a row. I didn't pick up. Then the voicemail came in. She wanted me to take it down. Said it was causing unnecessary drama. Said I was blowing things out of proportion. No apology. Not a word about the kids. That's when I posted a second time. Not deleting anything. My kids deserved an explanation. They're not too young to feel left out. And I'm not too old to pretend silence is polite. If you want this gone, you'll need to say something real to them. Not to me. You know where to find us. After that, my dad called Nate. Not me. Nate. They figured he'd be the calm one. Said they didn't want this to ruin the family, that we should come over and talk. Nate told them we weren't interested in a family meeting where the kids would be treated like background noise again. That night, we sat on the floor and finally opened those gifts with Layla and Mike. I didn't say anything. I just watched them. I saw the way they paused after every box, like they were waiting for more, for the doorbell to ring. Maybe for someone to say this was all a misunderstanding. But it wasn't, and I wasn't finished. Because for the past 5 years, I'd been helping my parents financially, quietly, monthly, covering small things here and there, repairs, prescriptions, groceries when they were a little tight. It wasn't charity, it was love. But love goes both ways. And after what happened, I wasn't sure they remembered that. So I opened one more thing that night, my banking app. I didn't make a big show of it. No threats, no final warnings. I just went into my recurring payments and canceled the auto transfer to my parents' account. It had been $400 a month for the last 5 years, sometimes more around the holidays. Never once did I ask for anything in return. I never even told Nate how much I'd given them until that night. He sat up straight when I showed him the total. They needed it, he said, and I needed a family who didn't lie to my kids' faces and call it easier. The next morning, my mom texted again. This time, she asked if we could come over that weekend and talk without the internet watching. I responded with one sentence. Only if Layla and Mike get an apology first. She left me on red. By New Year's, it had started to spread. A few cousins messaged me privately, saying they saw the post and asking what happened. Apparently, Ryan and Melanie had told everyone I had overreacted because my kids didn't come to a Christmas that was never meant to be a big deal. But they were still circulating the photos. The tree, the matching outfits, the 5-layer dessert tray. Not a big deal, right? A week later, I got a message from my parents' neighbor, someone I barely know, just a sweet older woman who once babysat Layla when we were desperate. She said she hoped everything was okay, that she saw my kids weren't there this year, and it just felt wrong. That's when I knew my parents weren't just embarrassed. They were exposed. The next transfer was supposed to go out on the 5th. When it didn't, my dad texted me. It was just a question mark. That was it. No, how are you? No, we miss the kids. Nothing. Just a question mark. I wrote back. No more financial support until the people I love the most are treated with the same basic respect you give Ryan's kids. You had a chance to fix it. You still do. This time he answered, You're being cruel. We don't deserve this. Cruel. That word sat with me. I texted back. Cruel is telling your daughter her children aren't welcome and pretending it's about space. Cruel is letting them think they weren't immediate enough. This is called consequences. I haven't heard from him since, but I did hear from Melanie. That message deserves a whole part of its own. It was almost midnight when Melanie messaged me. Long, overly polished, and clearly written after a few rewrites. She opened with a line pretending to care. I hope you and the kids are doing okay. Then immediately got to her point. She said my posts had caused confusion among family, that the kids were starting to ask questions, that she and Ryan didn't appreciate being painted as the reason for the rift. She used phrases like narrative and misunderstandings, and said it would be best for everyone if I deleted the posts and moved forward. Then she slipped in a line that made my skin crawl. You've always been so generous with your time and support, especially financially. I'd hate to see resentment destroy what we've all worked to build as a family. Worked to build. Like I was a business partner, not their scapegoat. Like the years I spent covering bills for my parents and dropping everything when they needed help were just expected parts of the structure. I didn't respond right away. I sat with it. I reread it 3 times. Then I sent it in full to my cousins Aaron and Julia and my Aunt Laura. All 3 had reached out to check on me after the Christmas mess. The responses came fast. This is manipulative. She's not sorry. She's just uncomfortable. God, Lynette, I'm so sorry. They saw what I saw. When I finally responded to Melanie the next afternoon, I didn't waste words. Melanie, I posted the truth. If it makes people uncomfortable, maybe they should ask why. My children were excluded. You didn't speak up. Neither did Ryan. If you're worried about your reputation, that's on you. As for the money, that ended when the lies began. I owe my kids more than I owe this family's image. She didn't reply. 3 days later, my mom texted me again. Said she wanted to talk, just the 2 of us, and that we should leave the past in the past. I asked the same thing I had asked a dozen times by now. Will you apologize to Layla and Mike? Her answer? I just don't want to say something wrong and make things worse. There it was. She'd rather say nothing at all than admit what she did, not even to a couple of kids who just wanted to be part of Christmas. So I told her we were done. No more helping with the utility bills. No more surprise Amazon orders when their dog needed food or my dad's blood pressure machine broke again. Done showing up when the door only opened for one side of the family. And they went quiet. Like truly quiet, not just ignoring texts. I mean total silence. Until last week. That's when a white envelope showed up in the mail. No return address. Inside was a folded invitation card, pastel with sparkles. One of Ryan and Melanie's kids was turning 10. They were throwing a big party, a bounce house, face painting, cotton candy machine. All cousins welcome. They had included Layla and Mike like nothing ever happened. The envelope showed up on a Tuesday. No return address, just our last name in curly letters written across the front, like it had been passed through a glitter factory. I knew what it was before I even opened it. Melanie always goes overboard with party invitations. Inside was a trifold card with balloons and sparkles. One of Ryan and Melanie's kids was turning 10. They were throwing a big top bash complete with a bounce house, face painting, popcorn machines, a magician, the works. And at the bottom, in gold font, all cousins welcome. I put the card on the counter and stared at it like it was something alive. A trap, maybe. After weeks of silence, after being told there wasn't room for my kids at Christmas, they suddenly had a guest list big enough for a circus. Nate saw the envelope when he got home. I didn't say a word. He read it, let out a small laugh, and asked the obvious. So now they want them there? I nodded. He shook his head and didn't push further. We both knew what this was. A PR stunt, a cleanup job. I sat on it for a day. Then I made the hard choice. I told Layla and Mike about the invite. Layla looked confused right away. Mike just blinked. Why now? Layla asked. I told her I didn't know. Mike asked quietly if Grandma and Grandpa would be there. When I said yes, he glanced down at the floor. I don't want to go. And that was that. My kids knew it wasn't real. They knew what the sudden welcome was worth. I felt proud and gutted at the same time. But I wasn't finished. I took a photo of the invitation and posted it to my Instagram story. Close friends and family only. The caption was short, and it burned. No room for them at Christmas. But now that there's a magician and other people watching, suddenly there's room at the party. Not buying it. My kids don't need performative love. It wasn't even 5 minutes before the message icon lit up. Melanie. Seriously. That was all she wrote. Like I was the one out of line. Then my dad called. Not me directly. He called Nate again. Tried to act like he just wanted to talk. Nate handed me the phone. He started with the usual. We didn't mean for it to go this far. Things got misunderstood. No one wanted to hurt anyone. Then he asked if I'd consider taking down the post. Not once did he mention the kids. Not once did he say their names. I said the same thing I'd said before. You want it gone? Then apologize. To Layla, to Mike. Look them in the eye and tell them they were wrong to exclude them. Do that and I'll take everything down. He went quiet. Then he said, that's not going to happen. So I said, then neither is this party. And I hung up. They still think this is about appearances, about saving face. They still think I'm the problem. But that story they're trying to protect? It's already cracking. Because the real story, the one they're so desperate to silence, isn't just mine anymore. It's Layla's. It's Micah's. And they remember everything. The party came and went. We stayed home. Mike built a Lego city. Layla read a book cover to cover. Nate grilled outside even though it was freezing. We played board games and laughed and pretended not to wonder what kind of pictures were being posted from that party. I knew there'd be some. Melanie can't help herself. By the next morning, her Facebook was a scrapbook. Group photos, close-ups of the face painter, Ryan pretending to juggle, my parents beaming in every frame, holding Ryan's youngest like he was made of gold. Not a single mention of Layla or Mike. Not even a missed a few cousins caption. Just like we never existed. I scrolled through it once. Then I logged out and deleted the app. A few days later, Nate's sister invited us over for dinner. Just us. No expectations, no undertones. Her kids adore mine, and no one pretends over there. No walking on eggshells. While the kids played, I told her the whole story. All of it. Even the money. She listened. Then she asked something that caught me off guard. Why did you keep helping them for so long? I didn't know how to answer. At first, it was just instinct. They were my parents. They needed help. But somewhere along the way, it became payment. I wasn't just covering bills. I was paying for belonging. And they still shortchanged my kids. A week later, I got a text from my mom. Not an apology. Just a single sentence. We miss the kids. Can we start fresh? I stared at it for a long time. She still wouldn't say the words. Not even close. Just a vague offer to move on without looking back. I typed my response slowly. You can see them when you acknowledge what you did. You don't have to grovel. Just say it to their faces. You were wrong, and they matter. It's been 3 months. She hasn't replied. Ryan and Melanie haven't spoken to me since the night of the post. My parents haven't seen Layla and Mike in person. I thought maybe it would bother me more, that I'd feel guilt. But I don't. Because the truth is, Peace found its way into our house the moment we stopped chasing acceptance from people who thought love was conditional. And even if they never say sorry, they'll remember what it cost them. The pictures from that party, they're still up. But everyone who looks at them now sees something else. They see who's missing.